Shubi Goel, is a seasoned expert in climate policy and carbon markets, boasting over 5 years of industry experience. She has held significant roles, including Joint Secretary at the Carbon Markets Association of India, where she concentrated on carbon market consulting and the environmental integrity of various market instruments. Shubi's academic background includes a master's degree in climate science and policy from the Terry School of Advanced Studies. Her professional interests lie in international climate finance, industrial decarbonization, and the design of effective emissions trading schemes, particularly within the Indian context. She has contributed to research in climate change and policy at Terry's Earth Science and Climate Change Division, emphasizing transparency, cooperation, and negotiation in international climate initiatives. Shubi is committed to advancing sustainable practices and policies that facilitate climate action and promote environmental integrity in the carbon markets.
Today, I'll be majorly talking about bilateral and multilateral cooperations and linking this with the Article 6.2 of Paris Agreement. Article 6 majorly focuses on carbon markets, so this will be more of how carbon markets can actually lead to climate action through continuously ensuring that we are taking care of SDG 17 that majorly talks about partnership for the goals. So the agenda for the presentation today will be as followed. We'll be talking about the framework of Article 6 Paris Agreement and a quick overview of how it can lead to SDG 17 and the partnership for both bilateral and multilateral relations. What is Article 6.2? What are the major pros and cons for the same? And how different initiatives has been taken by Government of India, the bilateral agreements that has taken place in various countries and associations, and a quick conclusion for the matter and the fact how that has led to more and more partnership in the world altogether. The major framework of Article 6 Paris Agreement recognizes different parties who actually choose to pursue their cooperations both voluntarily as well as through compliance. But this majorly Article 6.2 has driven or talks about 6.2 in the implementation of their national determined contributions, which is also known as NDC targets, to majorly allow them for higher ambitions in their mitigation and adaptation actions, and also to promote sustainable development and environment integrity. This majorly means that Article 6 countries are able to transfer their carbon credits earned from the reduction of greenhouse gas emission to help one or more countries. So when I say one, we are majorly talking about bilateral, that are two countries coming together and participating. But if there are more than one countries participating together or two countries participating together, that's where multilateral relations or cooperations happens. So Article 6 of Paris Agreement is defined or has been separated into two major talks. One talks about market mechanisms, one is non-market mechanisms. So we'll talk firstly about non-market mechanisms, which comes under Article 6.8. It talks about the approaches to advance the cooperation which do not involve any transferring of mitigation outcomes, and there is no trading of carbon credits for any mitigation or adaptation activities that has been taken into consideration. However, market mechanisms has been divided into two. One is 6.2, which will be the major conversations in the upcoming slides today. And 6.4 is also something which morely talks about the international platforms that are available for carbon credits. 6.2 has both bilateral multilateral agreements. It is a decentralized mechanism. Why? Because it has been run by different parties that are majorly involved, and it only authorized units. There is no non-authorized units under the Article 6.2. However, 6.4 talks about international markets, how they has come together, what are the national platforms that are available, what are voluntary mechanisms like gold standard, WERA talks about, and it's more of a centralized mechanism governed by UNFCCC. So all the mechanisms that has been working differently shall follow the agreement or the government policies that has been framed by UNFCCC. So it has both authorized and limited to some non-authorized units as well, depending on if we are taking compliance or a voluntary action. Article 6, if we only talk about carbon markets or the trading platforms that are available, 6.2 talks about mitigation outcomes. It is authorized as mentioned, and whatever corresponding adjustment will be done while reducing any emissions or doing any adaptation activities to some extent. The transfers happen through ITMOs that are known as internationally transferred mitigation outcomes. It could help you to achieve your NDC targets, the targets that has come across in international mitigation purposes for Corsair, for example, the aviation policy and the voluntary commitments that has made by either individual countries or corporates to achieve their targets. However, 6.4 has both authorized and non-authorized. When we talk about non-authorized, it talks about mitigation contributions, which has voluntary commitments, domestic compliance schemes. This will have both authorized and non-authorized emission reduction certificates and result-based finance based on the projects that has been financed from a particular corporate, individual, or country per se. So, a quick overview. The Article 6.2 majorly will talk about cooperative approaches, where we are talking about bilateral, multilateral agreements, and the countries are trading through ITMOs. However, the focus majorly on SDG 17 because it is emphasizing on global partnerships and leading to a lot of sustainable actions, climate actions, mitigation, and adaptation activities. So 6.2, if we talk about the agreement specifically, the countries do have flexibility. They are allowed to engage through a bilateral or through a multilateral trading within the Article 6 units. Why I'm saying flexibility is because these countries are allowed to make their own agreements, and based on the agreements they are allowed to trade the certificates that has come out and do the mitigation activities according to the projects that has been set up, the capacity building programs that is required, or the finance that has been signed in the framework that has been signed by maybe two countries or more than two countries for that particular activity. It allows host country who is actually taking care of the project in within the boundaries either nearing to their NDC target or they can surpass it. When they are surpassing it, that means they are transferring their ITMOs to the country who is actually supporting them in the technology, capacity building, or certain activities that are taking place. So they are trading these units in form of ITMOs, building capacities, accessing technologies which are actually not available locally or within the boundary of that particular host country. These cooperations between countries can actually manifest if they want to have a project based units. They want to actually work as a government generated jurisdictional units, or it could be within their emission trading scheme internationally. So, to quote an example from India, we have recently come up with CCTS, that is Carbon Credit Trading Scheme, where Government of India would like to have their Article 6.2 agreements either with one country, sorry, or more than one country within their emission trading scheme, that is CCTS. So it's completely a flexible outcome or an agreement which can be decided by a host country or a group of countries who are coming together to participate or do such partnership agreements. The buyers actually use these units to fill their climate objectives. So, for example, Japan has come up with a great technology in green hydrogen and they want to support developing nations for them. They can provide these technologies to these developing countries, and in return, they can actually achieve their climate objectives, maybe national determined contribution that has set under the UN protocols or the promise that they have made until 2030, or maybe to become a net zero country. So each country will craft their own policy mechanisms to actually implement these trades. So all the mechanisms, agreements do have their own pros and cons. So if we talk about 6.2, we have just discussed that it is flexible. It is allowing and offering a freedom to actually design the rules and regulations. This rules and regulations, since decided by the countries by themselves, it will also attract countries to aim or swift their actions according to their requirement. That will actually speed up And since it is speed up, it is much faster than compared to Article 6.4. Why? Because if we go back to COP29, which recently was conducted in Baku, we saw that we were really looking forward to the framework how Article 6.4 will look like. Depending on that, a lot of countries want to participate until the framework comes into picture. However, that's not the case with Article 6.2. It has been taking place since 2020. So we are speeding up because we can have our own rules and regulations within that. And there is no mandatory fee, which has a possibility to actually automate, to cancel the payments if required, to build up the technologies that is required. But there are cons as well. One is that the political and the transactional cost. Why? Because it is leading to a lot of negotiation challenges to actually come out with the potential results that is actually required. And we are unable to come up with any particular agreement, even if it's a relationship or a partnership between two countries. That has happened and is happening with a lot of partnership, which India is also taking soon and has been pending from last 6 to 7 months now. So that could be one of the negotiation or political costs that come into picture, and also has a very less predictability. Why? Because this is varied in nature. We do not have a standardized result to how much carbon should be credited and what should be the price of the carbon. And if that is not being set up very properly within the agreement, it might lead to a less trading of carbon compared to what we can have in Article 6.4. So these agreement needs to be designed very critically, ensuring that we do not lose the opportunities that are there in upcoming. So coming to the initiatives and the policies that has been framed by India, India has finalized 14 activities under Article 6.2, and they are ready to facilitate and transfer through the mobilizing of finance, emerging technologies that are available, and has divided into three major categories, which is GHG mitigation, alternate materials, and removal activities. In GHG mitigations, we are majorly looking forward to have renewable energy, energy efficiency, and other innovative solutions. In alternative materials, we are focusing to replace the traditional activities with high emission counterparts. And for removal activities, though it talks about afforestation, reforestation as well, but currently only looking forward to the CCS technologies that are available. So these are the list of activities that has been published by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change from India, that they are ready to do these partnership, which is directly having one SDG, that is 17, and there are a lot of other SDGs that will come into picture and claim through each of the technologies that has been listed. So that's how India wanted to start or initiated these particular partnership under Article 6.2. They are not limited to the 14 technologies that are listed here. They are open to have more technologies available in coming years. For example, if you see the clean cooking and using renewable energies at scale, this has been recently added after having a lot of consultations. Why? Because most of the African countries are dependent on India to have this particular technology, and they want to transfer and have these agreement with India as well. So that is where this particular technology was added after a lot of stakeholder consultation. So these are not limited, but to actually initiate the partnerships as soon as possible. So, if as I mentioned that since 2020, there are a lot of partnerships that has happened through different countries that are already partnering. And these bilateral cooperations agreements has come in within the Article 6.2. Because even though this excludes the Japan agreements because they majorly work on the JCM principle, that is joint crediting mechanism of Japan. However, Switzerland, if you see South Korea, Australia, Sweden, Singapore, they are already working aggressively and partnering with different countries to actually attain the climate mitigation activities that are already or can be possible through capacity building, through technology transfer, and of course, climate finance. That is crucial part for climate actions for these countries, which you can see outside the circle. For example, Morocco, Peru, Vietnam, they are looking forward for such technologies and finance majorly from the countries like South Korea and Switzerland. So these are quick agreements that has signed since 2020. These are the best practices as well, which we could see how bilateral cooperation can actually lead to the goals that we are looking forward to. In 2020, Peru and Switzerland was the first country who actually signed the agreement under Article 6 of Paris Agreement. South Korea has a discussions with six different countries which are listed over here: Bangladesh, Cambodia, Laos. We saw in the previous slide as well. Then the foundation of Switzerland. This is the first country who has actually introduced the electric buses in Thailand under Article 6.2 and has a contract which will actually lead to transfer 500,000 ITMOs to the Click Foundation by 2030, which is incredible because we are not only having a technology from Switzerland here, but we are also able to achieve the climate actions that are there through transferring these ITMOs under Article 6 of Paris Agreement. Another example is of loan guarantees for the renewable power in Ghana. They have also guaranteed that they'll be transferring 160,000 ITMOs by 2030, which is again incredible. And Ghana is the first country to become or to authorize their transfer of mitigation outcome to Switzerland under Article 6.2 through bilateral agreement that they have actually signed. As mentioned before, just earlier when Paris Agreement was then actually there, since Joint Crediting Mechanism, that is JCM, Japan has established in 2013 and they have been able to participate and provide finance for the projects in which they were getting returned through carbon credits. And they have already partnered with 27 countries so far within the JCM. Moving overviews and the collaborations for different countries. So Kenya, they have taken a lot of initiatives, has come up with their new climate change act, passed a carbon market law, have their own MRV framework and tool as well, so that they can track how much climate finance is coming under Article 6.2. This collaboration has been already made, and their key objective is to do the robust infrastructure for recording and tracking their cooperative approaches. Japan, as mentioned, 27 countries they have signed, achieved 29 for more within the Article 6.2 of Paris Agreement. Their key objective is to decarbonize as much technologies as possible and create an infrastructure for various countries that has been listed here and the collaborations they have made. Namibia, doing amazingly well, have promoted their own carbon market projects within the country. They have their cooling program for Southern Africa. They are working closely with UNDP to operationalize their carbon market structure. They have their carbon market framework and green hydrogen framework as well, where they are ready to collaborate with Botswana and Japan. Their key unique initiative is to actually represent less than 1% of total global emission and take the significant step towards the carbon market. To conclude, Article 6.2 will and has already been fostering a lot of cooperations, both bilateral and multilateral, to actually achieve climate goals. It has strengthened policy framework for corporations. Why? Because countries have these flexibility to take part into the making of these framework possible, and they are directly supporting SDG 17 through partnerships, capacity building, and mobilizing finance. And lastly, enhancing global capacity for monitoring ITMOs, that is your internationally transferred mitigation out. Thank you, and I'll be open for questions at the end of this presentation.